Welcome back to the Skin Deep podcast. This is part 2 with Iggy. Pleasure, brother. How you doing this morning?
Good, man. Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing real good. So if you want to know Iggy's background and the backstory, he's an OG from Columbus, and you can check that out in the previous podcast that is already up on the YouTube channel. We had a great chat. We were just talking off tape here that probably could have been a 3-hour podcast, but
Easily.
everybody's attention span is short these days. So we're coming here into part 2, and it's going to be, we start with, when did you get your first tattoo, and that story of who did it and what inspired you to get this tattoo?
Cool. Yeah. So my first tattoo is that top sort of circular round piece that's super faded and fuzzy these days. But it's actually like it's a zodiac symbol of Aquarius that I found on some really old dictionary in the Metropolitan Library here in downtown Columbus.
Cool.
Ironically enough. And I just kind of took the idea and just kind of ran with it a little bit and just kind of redesigned it and just kind of made it more my own. So that was my first tattoo, and I got it by my mentor who taught me how to tattoo, Lars Johansson. Shout out to him. And we did this. We literally did this tattoo in the basement of our house where we all lived together while we were going to school. That's kind of how this whole tattooing journey started. That was my first tattoo, man. And as soon as I got that one, I was hooked. As I mentioned before in the last podcast, tattooing just kind of fell on my lap. It wasn't something that I was looking for. But as soon as I got my first tattoo, and as I was watching Lars kind of go through this, this process of becoming a tattooer and how it sort of expanded his horizons in terms of becoming an artist, it made me realize that this was a potential, avenue I wanted to pursue.
Right. Got bit by the tattoo bug.
Exactly. Literally.
Yeah, literally. So 31 years in, we've got some photos here of Iggy's current work. Walk us through this tattoo here that we're looking at.
Yeah, man, this is one of my all-time favorite tattoos that I've ever done. And I, of course, this was a few years ago, and I will say back a few years ago, I just always had a hard time like focusing a lot on documentation. So I don't have a picture of the beginning of this tattoo. And what I mean by that is it's a cover up. And of course I failed to document that. And I only have, a final series of pictures of the tattoo itself. But, I've always kind of steered away from cover ups. I never really felt comfortable doing them up until maybe this past decade. Since I've been tattooing for just over 3 decades. But I really love this piece in terms of how the composition turned out first and foremost, and then being able to like really hide, right, the cover up itself, not really being able to see where the cover up actually is. The guy who got this tattoo, huge fan of birds. This is a red-tailed hawk that's native to Ohio. So He wanted to get that. He found me a reference image that I thought would work really well. And, I kind of manipulated it a little bit in terms of the background and in terms of, building up texture in its feathers so that it would, really work with the cover up itself. And I just felt like the execution was as flawless as I've ever come to. I just love the color palette. I feel like it worked really well with his skin tone, and it worked really well with the cover up. And I just really had a blast doing it, man. I just had a lot of fun putting the tattoo together for him.
Yeah, it looks like it would have been a fun tattoo. Executed great, by the way, dude. I love
that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just really felt like there's like little highlights of color. For example, that sort of cyan brown kind of made some areas of the red-tailed hawk pop. I really like the angle of the branch and how the claws are on it. So it creates a certain sense of dimension and motion in the piece. And then the green background I feel like really complemented the browns in the red-tailed hawk.
Yeah. And I love the multiple tones of the greens in there.
Totally.
Yeah, this has everything. It has motion, it has depth, it has detail, it has, we want to confuse the eye in a cover up, because
Exactly.
I always tell people tattoo ink is not like wall paint. It's not completely opaque, it's semi-opaque. So there's always going to be some imperfections. So we need to distract the eye, and it's a magic trick. And this one,
Exactly.
I can't see the tattoo below it. So excellent
Excellent.
job. Let's
Thank
check
you,
out
sir.
this next piece of work. Love
This
this
is all.
dude.
Yeah, this is also
Dramatic.
similar. Yeah, very dramatic. This is also very similar. And actually, since I've took this picture, we've actually completed it, meaning we've gone all the way around to the inner bicep. So this is just the front side of the arm. This is obviously a different approach in terms of style, but it's still sort of the same thing. The bald eagle is obviously has a bit more of a realistic approach, even though there's some American traditional elements and even some neo-traditional elements. This guy was obviously in the military, so he had another sort of band, and you can kind of see it there on the bottom right side of the image. You
Oh,
can see the band kind of
yep.
creeping around. So now you know where the cover-up section is. And I've done some more work to that part of the tattoo since I took this picture. I just haven't documented it yet because it's not fully healed. But this was also one of those really super fun tattoos that I felt had a lot of dynamic elements to it and a lot of movement. I wanted to really push the boundaries of boldness and color, obviously the lightning being sharp and bright, but then also creating a little bit of a subtler gradation of dark to light with the clouds, and then to like really enhance and encompass the head of the eagle, and then obviously the patch, which I know you can you can relate with the current work that you do, which is also amazing.
Thank you, brother.
But yeah, I really love this piece, and it's very dynamic. And again, I felt like I did a pretty decent job of hiding the cover up section itself. And yeah, I just really love it, man. I feel it's super saturated, and I had a lot of fun doing it too.
Yeah, dude, this thing looks great. I mean, to be quite honest, of all the things, one of my favorite things is this lightning coming through these clouds. It's just the contrast of it to the
Thank you.
micro detail of the eagle, I think
Yeah.
is really, really cool. I like the angle of the
Yes.
lightning. I like the different weights of the lightning.
Right.
It definitely, there's a lot of little things in here that besides the eagle just being spot on. So,
Thank you.
pardon me, got a little bit of a sore throat here. So obviously 31 years of tattooing has consumed, and to be a good tattooer takes a lot of time behind the scenes, but we also need life balance. Tell me a little bit about what you do to decompress from the stress of trying to be and being a great tattooer.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate those kind words. I try to, that's one thing that I've tried to learn, and I'm still really uh conflicted, and I feel like it's become in different ways more difficult to have that life work balance, just because of how fast paced life has really become. But I definitely balance it out, and I've been studying, and I've been a student of martial arts and Muay Thai now for over 15 years. I also have the honor and privilege of being an instructor at the gym where I study, and I've been doing that. I've been teaching a little bit over 11 years. Yeah, so I study martial arts, and I try to practice it at least 3 to 4 times a week. I've slowed down a little bit in terms of practicing, only because just been working on some other things in life. But yeah, I've been studying and teaching, and I love martial arts. I correlated a lot to tattooing in terms of you have to have a certain sense of mental fortitude, and with martial arts and with Muay Thai, you build that and you create that through the physical practice. You become stronger mentally, and you become stronger emotionally, physically, obviously, through its practice. And then I also love to travel. My wife and I, focus a lot on traveling. We do it as much as we possibly can. And you have to have that work-life balance, man. It can't just be all work and no play, right? It makes Iggy a dull boy. So, you gotta make sure you have a balance of the two. And it's difficult, it is with what we do with tattooing, because it eats up so much of our time, and we dedicate so much of our time to it, that it's easy to put other things to the side. And if you don't, you got to move your body. It can't just be a hand-eye mental coordination. You also need to utilize your body. Your body was created to move. So, making sure that you utilize it in those ways as well is really important. It's important. And it teaches you to appreciate life, right? Both of those things, a combination of work and life and relationships and friendships, and, cultivating those things is extremely important.
Yeah, I've definitely found it's easy to, if you're, and it's for anybody, if you're dedicated to your craft and job, it's very easy to get stuck in this Groundhog Day of progression of your craft, whether you're or building your business, whether you're an accountant, school teacher, tattooer, and you can, as cool as our jobs are, especially to the people on the outside looking in, you can get burned out, and having those outside resources and very cool. Martial arts, I love. I'm with you. I love to stay active. I love to work out. I love to travel. Appreciate a little insight into your life that makes Iggy tick here, brother. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
People are watching this and want to get hold of you. How can they get hold of you to get a kick-ass tattoo?
Best way to connect with me is just go to the shop's website. It's www.AIONTattoo.com. That's AION. It's the best way to do it. All the socials are connected through the website. The website is super easy to navigate. You can fill out a contact form if you'd like, and just shoot me an email and we can connect that way. Super easy. So, yeah.
Awesome, brother. Hey, have a great day.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All righty, brother. Later.
Take care.
Perfect.